Okay, the first thing we want to do is open GIMP. And I have downloaded some pictures that I like of Judith and Alexandria, since that is where she is from. So the first thing I want to do is go up to New and File and Create. And the width on this is going to be 4 inches and the height is 10 3/4 or 10.75. So hit OK. Now the background is entirely up to you. If you want to, you can make it green, brown, black, whatever color you want. My default color that I have made for all my custom figures is black. So the thing I want to do is go to Tools and Paint Tools. And I have them over here. Go to Bucket Fill, and as you can see over here on the right hand side, the black is my default color. So with my bucket fill, I just want to go ahead and fill that up. Okay, next thing I want to do is go to Open, and I have Alexandria saved here. I have a photo of kind of the town and stuff. It's in the later years and stuff, like season 8 and 9, and where they have the the windmill and all that stuff there. So I want to open that, and I want to edit, copy, then minimize that, edit, paste, and I want to go to Tools, Transform, and Scale, because I want to get this down to the size that it's going to fit at the top of this card. So I'm going to pull this way down, pull this up, and there it goes, about the size where I need it, and need it to fit up here at the top. Hit Scale, and there we have the top of that filled in the way I want. Okay, then I go to Layer, Anchor Layer, and the next thing I want to do is File, Open, and I'm looking for a picture of Judith, because the next picture that I'm going to put on here is going to be the background picture. So let's find a picture that I want to use of Judith. So this is the one I want to use. So I'm going to Open. And I'm not going to use the full length picture since her feet are actually cut off in this picture. So I'm just going to use basically the body part of her. So I'm going to go to Tools, Transform, Crop. And I'm just going to cut out part of her. Right there. Double click. And edit, copy. And then go back to the main picture. And you can go between the two and stuff. If you click up here at the bar up at the top, that will actually go between the two pictures. If I open this one, you can see this is the active window. And then if I click on this one back here, that takes me to this, which is the active window. But before I actually go to that, what I want to do is I want to go to Filters and Decor. Well, actually, hold on. So I want to go to Colors, Brightness and Contrast, and I'm going to fade this out, and I'm going to go to about 100 on that. Click OK, and then I want to go to Filters and Decor, Fuzzy Border. And I've got some of the pictures, it depends upon what it is. I'll go all the way up to 25 or 30 on this border size, but on this one I'm going to do 15. And as you can see and stuff, it put a black border around there. So now that we've got our border around there the way we want it, I want to go to Edit, Copy, and go back to the main one, and Edit, Paste. Then go to Scale. Now I want to move this up here. And on this one and stuff, you want to make sure that this link here is not clicked, because we are going to distort her. She's not going to be in proportion. She's going to be stretched out just a little bit, but that's all right. then hit scale, and then anchor layer. Each time you anchor the layers on these, then you really can't do anything with them. I mean, you can go ahead and if you want to and stuff, you can paint on them or whatever and stuff, but as far as moving them and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to move them. So next thing I want to do is tools, text, and I want to go up here, and for the Walking Dead font, the one that I use it's called Dead Kansas, and the color I want to use on that is a bright yellow for up here. And all in capital letters. Oops. And to let you know that it is actually a custom figure. And I might want to move that just a little bit down right there. And again, merge down on this one. The anchor layer option is not available. It's actually have to merge down on this one. And I did take the logo from The Walking Dead, like season 9, and remove the background so it's actually transparent. So I want to open, and I have that saved over here. Walking Dead season 9 logo, transparent, open. Okay, edit, copy, edit, paste, and again we're going to have to scale this down. And on this one you do want to link this because you want the perspective to stay the same. You don't want it to be like real long or wonky looking. So then I'll move this up here a little bit and then go ahead and scale it on down. You just grab the corner of this and just move it. Then get in the middle and you can move it around like that. And just a little bit smaller maybe. And in order to get the top of the bubble to clear that and stuff, you actually have to move this up just a little bit. And scale. And there's our logo. And so we want to go to layer and anchor layer on that. Some of these, like with this and stuff, the background is a little lighter, so it is just a little bit harder to see, but I'm okay with that. So next color of text I want to do is red. So we're going to do text, and on this one, the text I want to use on this is actually impact on this one. Don't use the Dead Kansas on that. So impact is the font I use for this. So it's this one right here. And the color I want to use is red. So I'll put in here. Take that box down a little bit. Okay. Then I want to move this down here, and then I want to rotate it. And just rotate it by hand and then get to 90 on that. Here, rotate. And then once again, I want to move it. And anchor the layer, merge it down. And there you go. There is your custom Walking Dead card back. For the next one I will be doing will be Judith Grimes, so that's why I went ahead and did this one. But basically the only thing you really want to remember is your length across here, your width needs to be 4 inches, and your height needs to be somewhere between 7.5 and 7.75. I opted for 7.75 just to give myself a little more clearance up here, and then that way I can make sure and trim off any of the white paper that's around the edges of that and actually get into the black so there's no white border showing on that. So then I want to go to File and Export. Oops, cancel. File, Export As, and will be Judith Grimes card front, and export. And on the back of my cards, what I've basically been doing is going to the Walking Dead fan page wiki and pulling the information from there for the backs of the cards. I'll just show you a real quick one here. Let's go ahead and close these all out. This card, any changes on that? So on that, to give you an idea on the backs of the cards, I was printing in all black on the back with white ink, and then I decided that I was just using way too much ink for that, so then I went ahead and opted to go to a white background. But see, I just went ahead and get this bigger. Went ahead and pulled some pictures off there. I was doing pictures of the actual figures themselves and stuff, but by the time I shrunk them down and everything, they got a little distorted, and I did not like the looks of that. So I just actually pulled some pictures from the internet and put on the back of there, and then this is from the Walking Dead fan page wiki that just kind of tells who Beta is. So that's basically the size, and everything on the back is exactly the same as it is in the front. The only thing you want to make sure is that you get far enough from the top edge, because when you punch the hole or whatever to hang it, you don't want to be getting into the pictures or into your text, which I did make that mistake with the first ones that I did, so I have since adjusted that. So okay, it's going to continue on how I make my Walking Dead card backs. Here's Judith Grime. Here's the front of her card, and then here is the back of the card. So what I do is I went ahead and bought one of these slicers so I can pretty much get it lined up on here and get it trimmed down and actually have straight lines, because I'm not real good with a pair of scissors. So I want to get this on here and get it cut. So I have just a little bit. I'll go back over this if there's any of the white showing around the edge. I will go back over this and trim it just a little bit more, because I don't want any of the white showing. So get it to where I think I need it, and then basically just slice down through there. So as you can see, I still have just a little bit of the white showing. So I'll put that in there again and trim it down just a little bit more. I'd rather take off too little to begin with and then go back over it than take off too much and then have to print everything back over again. So okay. Alright, that time we got it. So now we got it down to the black where we need it. Scoot this over just a teeny. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and do the same with the rest of the edges. And there we go. There's the completed card front, trimmed and everything. So then what I do, since there's no crop marks on the back card, what I generally do is lay this one over the top. Make sure that I have enough clearance on this.
And probably printing crop marks would be easier. But you can kind of see through the bottom, see through the paper and stuff if you have a good enough light in the back. But I just want to make sure that I get all the typing on there. And it's lined up. And then I'll just actually take a pen and hold this real steady and then trace around the outside of this card. And this will get trimmed off, so I don't have to worry about pen marks or anything. So, and there we got where we need to cut it. And I know I could probably stick this, print this, and then reverse the card stock and then print this on the back, but I do want the extra thickness because this is cardstock, and I do want 2 thicknesses of this so the card itself is a little thicker. If I just did 1 thickness of it, to me and stuff, it's just not going to be thick enough to hold the bubble good. And I do use a laminating machine for my Cardbacks. I just like the look that it gives. I think it gives a nice finished look to the card. You wouldn't have to, you could just glue these 2 together, but I do like the nice shiny custom store look that you get with a laminating machine. Alright. So now what I do is I want to put these 2 together and make sure that I don't have any white showing around, especially not so much from the back, but I want to make sure that I don't have any of the white card from the back showing around the edges of this. And it looks like I think I actually got it right the first time. That's a shock. That doesn't usually happen. So anyway, so now I'll go get my laminating machine and then we'll go ahead and laminate this. Okay, here's my laminating machine. It's a Scotch. I don't even know what model it is. I do use 5mm lamination sheets. Because like I said, I do like the little bit extra thickness that gives. So I want to turn this on and set it to 5mm. So it has to heat a little bit more for the 5mm than the 3mm. That's what your lamination sheet looks like. And I know they say not to trim whatever it is you're wanting to laminate ahead of time, but I found that if you try to do something smaller like this, whenever you go to send it through the laminator and then trim it later, that the edges of it do pop loose. So I would just as soon go ahead and cut it down, and that way I know the edges of this are sealed like they're supposed to be. And one other thing, I got a hole punch. It's not like the regular hang tag hole punch that you would have. And just kind of take a guess. Oops, got that on there backwards. Make sure that your blank space that you scooted is up at the top, so when you punch your hole, you're not cutting into the pictures and stuff. So, kind of roughly in the middle of this. That looks close. And then you got your place to hang it. So as this heats up, I'm going to go ahead, I'll scoot this off the side, and show you how I get this in this sheet. So you just want to open the lamination sheet, which may be a booger in some cases. Open this up. And make sure everything is lined up exactly how you want it before you put it in here. And always slip the notched part up where the hinged part is on the lamination sheet, I guess if you want to call it that. I usually try to get it up as far as I can. And I don't mind leaving a little bit of the edge of this lamination sheet around this when I trim it. But there you go. It's in the lamination sheet. And we will be back as soon as this thing turns to blue. The button on this turns to blue, so you know it's ready to be run through there and laminated. Just make sure you haven't got any fuzzies between your sheets of this lamination or anything like that, or it will laminate the fuzzies and the dog hairs and the cat hairs and whatever else happens to be flying around. Okay, our laminator is hot, so we're going to send this through. And you always send the hinge side through first, so. And it will feed it automatically. You just put it in the back here and it'll run it through the front. These thicker pouches, I usually do send them through 2 or 3 times. Just simply the fact that stuff, it doesn't always seal right up close to the card. I could probably use the thinner pouches, but, and I do have some of those. I might try them sometime, but. And I'm going to go ahead and punch this hole again. Again. So I'm going to set this off to the side for just a second. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this down some. I'm not going to trim it into the point where it looks like it may not have sealed, because I'm not sure if you can see. Probably not. But on some of these, right up to the edge, it's kind of gappy right here. So I know that that's not sealed real well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it down, but not to that point where it's loose from there. I'm going to back out probably a good 1/4 inch. Go ahead and trim that off. And I know that's another one of those things you're not supposed to do, but it's about the best way I've found to get these to seal the way I want them to. These little scraps are good if you want to mix paint on them for your dolls. Or for your action figures, sorry. We won't call them dolls. That sounds foo-foo, doesn't it? Okay. You can see I've trimmed it down. I'm going to run it through there again. So like I said, if I use the thinner laminating sheets and stuff, it might laminate better, but I like the thickness of these. through upside down the other way. Seems like sometimes if you run a couple different directions, it seals a little bit better. I don't know why. Okay, still not sealed completely tight right up against that, but I'm going to trim this down as far as I feel comfortable. So, we got pretty close that time, sending it through 2 or 3 different directions. Generally, you want to let this sit and cool. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. And it's like I said, if you've got any gap around this, do not cut into that gap, because it's like I said, then it will separate from the card. So I'll just get as close as I feel comfortable with that without actually getting into that space. That's pretty good. And the bottom looks good. I'll just leave the bottom alone. Top's not too bad. And there we go. There's our completed card. So like I said, you will have an edge around here, which I think that's just fine. I don't have a problem with that. And one way I have found to get rid of these corners, hold on just a sec. I know that they have corner clipper things that you can buy. And I just use a pair of fingernail clippers and just go in there and kind of round them off. Since there's a curve to them anyway. And it just kind of gets rid of the sharp edge on there. And there we go. There's our completed Judith Grimes card back. And on the back there. So like I said, the one thing with punching the hole and stuff, it kind of seals it back up around the edge of that. So like I said, you kind of see there where I had printed off on the back of that. I probably just should have thrown that away. But anyway. This is just for my own personal display, so I'm not super worried about it. So then I just have to basically take the Judith Grimes, and I will have to alter her bubble just a little bit because she's going to be wearing the hat in her packaging. But I'll show you what she looks like after I get her in there. But just basically wherever you need to cut, just take a scalpel and or something sharp and alter your bubble so the figure fits in there correctly. So anyway, there's our Judith Grimes card. So I hope you enjoyed the video. So like I said, if you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know. Thanks for watching.